Sup, y'all?
Hello, lovelies. I have several haikus for you guys.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Oh, man.
I have been slaving over my computer, for I have become an enlightened being.
Oh man. Do we need a new segment?
No,
Like,
this is a
Trey
continuation
coup?
That's Trey's haiku. Yeah, this is a continuation of my BioShock journey. So
that happened.
all right, everybody. Haikus for BioShock. BioShock 1. Somewhere beyond the sea, a lighthouse waiting for me. Would you kindly stop making me do this stupid hacking minigame? Holy shit, this is annoying. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Next.
Alright. My bad. Okay, continuing. BioShock 2. You can dual wield now. Can we please stop calling me daddy? Aw shit. Here we go again.
Good.
BioShock Infinite. We in the sky now. Oh shit, we got racists here too. It's infinite. Until it isn't.
Oh my god.
That last one wasn't. There was too many syllables in that last one. It actually, but I had to put infinite.
Wait, yeah,
in there
not in the
somewhere.
first one? Hang on.
Yeah.
No, that one was perfect. I don't know what you're talking about.
You say all those last things
flawless.
in one syllable.
That's one syllable. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's fair. So,
but yeah. That's so if you guys want to all take
Wait,
what?
Trey,
Oh.
wait, this is important. This is important. Because this is a continuation. Tyler, play the theme song.
Yep, I was gonna say it. Play that sexy music.
Trey Steam
Yeah, that's the one.
Alright.
So everybody, welcome to my steam bath. Today we're going deep down, then deep up. This is a very confusing steam bath we got going here.
I was drinking and I wasn't ready for deep up.
But yeah, I played the BioShock games. I'm continuing going down the list. I have played all three BioShock games, and I have opinions. Those games are interesting. The gameplay in those games have not aged very well.
Oh really?
Really? I mean, Infinite's not even that old, right?
Infinite's
Infinite's not
2010.
Really? Jesus. Already? I thought it was like 2015.
I think it might be. I think you might be right.
I don't think it's 2010. That seems
2013. So.
Oh, okay. Split the difference.
Yeah. So the problem with BioShock Infinite's not really the fact that they didn't have the technology to make good gameplay. They just made some very confusing decisions, and I have to assume it's because they ran out of time at some point for something. But let's start at the beginning. Let's start where it all began. System Shock. No, we're not starting there. Let's keep going.
There's a hard pass. That's all in alphabetical
Hard
order.
pass.
It doesn't happen.
Sorry. BioShock 1. Very, very iconic game. It also, I looked this up. It came out in the same year as Call of Duty Modern Warfare, so that was a real good year for shooters, y'all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like the first Modern Warfare?
Yeah, first Modern Warfare. Those two games came out in the same year. So very good year for shooters if that's your thing. But the thing about BioShock is that kind of sucked everybody in, I think, is the fact that it was like the story shooter. Like it was the thinking man shooter. That was kind of like the tagline it went with. And in some ways it was very much that.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what the first and second BioShock games, and I guess Infinite's kinda is to a certain extent, is basically there's a city underwater called Rapture, and it's kind of run around this like rampant like and Rand style over capitalism, zero restriction on anything, basically. Like everything goes. If you're scientists and artists and and businessmen can like literally do anything with zero restrictions. And basically they kind of took like the whole Ayn Rand philosophy and then just blew it up to like ridiculous proportions, and then just showed you how crazily it just kind of crumbles to the ground. which is interesting. It's a very interesting concept. The main villain's literally called Andrew Ryan, so they're not trying to hide like where the inspirations are coming from.
Yeah.
And it's in that sense, it does succeed really well. All three of these games, 2.5 of these games, are very, very good at making an atmosphere. Just incredibly good. Like every second of this game, you're just drinking in the cities that you're in. Rapture in the first two games, and then Columbia in Infinite. And man, they really nailed it. I don't really know how they did it, but holy shit, these two locations are incredible. And like the stuff about them is just wow. Like all the splicers and all the people in Colombia and everything. They really nailed the period of these things while also like adding in that sci-fi twist, which really kind of like really makes it interesting. That being said, and here's the kicker. All three of these games' gameplays are rough, man. BioShock's super clunky. That game does not age well. For the sole reason that you, like when you want to switch to your superpower or any of your guns, you pause. Like you can hot swap between your plasmids and your guns at any time, but you pause every time you swap. You just want to swap to a different gun on your wheel or a different plasmid on your wheel, and man, that drags. It is not very fun. On keyboard and mouse, you can at least like they're bound to the number keys at least, but still, it is very a lot of things that just slow down the experience. Like I said before, that hacking minigame is something else. That's just very annoying. Like it's kind of novel at first.
I don't remember it bugging me personally. But
yeah, it's just, I think the main issue is that it's okay if you're by yourself just exploring, but like, man, if you're in a firefight and you're trying to hack a drone that's attacking you,
yeah,
it's just annoying, man. Like, and you just keep doing it over and over again, and it's just like, it's not very hard, really. If I didn't get like amazingly far in BioShock again this time. I mean, I've beaten all 3 games, so I'm not like I wasn't gonna go out of my way to beat any of them, but like, if I remember correctly, if you don't spec for it, it gets rather challenging, which I guess is fair. It's just, I don't like the fact that it stops everything you're doing in combat. If it's not in combat, it's fine. It's like, it's okay. But I don't like, I'm very against systems that stop the action in action-oriented games.
Yeah, I can see that.
There's other games that do stuff like that, but that was the egregious part. Well, in my like 4 or 5 hours in Rapture, I was already getting frustrated with the hacking, and that game runs you around like what, 25, 30 hours usually, so I could see
something like that.
I could see that getting annoying. Honestly, the game that controlled the best out of all 3 was 2.
Really?
BioShock 2 controls really well, mostly because you can dual wield. Like, it has a lot of the same problems, except for the fact that you don't need to swap between your plasmids and your gun all the time.
Yeah.
Not to mention, you really feel like Spider-Man. You really feel like they make you like you're a big daddy in this one. I don't know, Dan, if you know what those are.
Yeah, I know what Big Daddies are. I played BioShock. I played a little bit of BioShock 1, yeah.
Okay, alright. I wasn't sure what your BioShock pedigree was, but it's...
a little bit of 1, and then just kind of...
You've heard about the other ones.
Yeah, I know of the others. They just they never were my thing. I mean, I'm not a big shooter guy, so...
Right. I like sci-fi shooters a decent amount. Yeah. Especially at the time, I was like coming off of Half-Life, so I was just looking for anything to scratch that edge.
Yeah.
But and 2, I think 2 they really nailed down like making you feel like a slow tank character, because like you're a lot clunkier to control than the main character of the first game, but that comes with the fact that you can soak a lot more damage and you hit way harder, like your melee weapons are like drills and shit. And you have a lot more access to like crazy guns that your character couldn't have ever wielded as like a normal human with normal human powers. You now have like diver suit super soldier powers, so you have like a rivet gun that shoots like, I don't know, like what, like fucking industrial nails at people. It's pretty cool. Like a minigun and stuff. It's pretty neat. The story is hot poo poo. It's a poo poo game.
Yeah, that's what I kind of heard about that one.
Yeah,
it's
kind
of
played that one.
Yeah, it's not as bad as people say it is, but it's not a good story either. It's very like forgettable. Yeah. It's just like a non-story. your big daddy, your little sister, like, escapes. You wake up X amount of time later, and then you have to go find her, and oh no, she's not what she was before. There's a twist here, so there's a twist is that everybody can call it. That's the twist. Bioshock Infinite, I think, also had... Bioshock, personally, and I know this is kind of a contentious opinion among the Bioshock sphere of, like, players, but I think Infinite has the best story. Mostly because it's mostly a linear game, unlike the first two games, which are very open-ended. Like, they're linear in a sense where, like, the area, you can't go to the next area until you complete the area you're in, but the areas are really big and sprawling. Infinite's it's pretty much a corridor for the most part. Like, it's just, you go from one set piece to the next set piece. I just think they're really well crafted, so it doesn't feel as bad in some cases. You kind of miss out on some of the exploration, but I think the story is a lot tighter knit in that game, with the exception of a few areas. There's an area where you're chasing a ghost, which is pretty annoying, and in Infinite that takes forever. Did you ever play Infinite, Tyler?
Yes, yeah, I do remember that.
That part was
pretty annoying.
that part was really kind of ground things to a halt. Anything to do with the Vox Populi also was kind of kind of slow. But I think as a whole, the story was a lot more like tighter knit, and it doesn't fall apart at the end like the first game does. After the mid game twist of the first game, the game just kind of falls to pieces. Like, it feels like Ken Levine expended all of his creative energy trying just to get that one crazy twist that nobody saw coming, and then after that, it's just like, well, my brain spent. Dev team, do your thing.
Yeah. I will say, I think actually my favorite was the Burial at Sea Part 1 and 2.
Yeah,
particularly Part 2. But,
Burial at Sea 1 and 2 were interesting. I thought 2 was cool, mostly because it tied into the first Bioshock pretty neatly. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
My only problem with it was mostly I wanted more Bioshock games, and Burial at Sea kind of ruins that idea.
Yeah, it's different. It's not the same game.
Yeah, but like this, it's like story-wise, it kind of curtails the ability to have more. Like the idea, like I mean, I'd be spoiling a bit of the magic, but so spoiler tags for Infinite if anybody cares. It's an older game. I don't feel too bad. But they at the end of the game they hint that they could do a Bioshock in any in multiple universes. Like they could do like there's always going to be similarities, but there's a scenario where you could be in literally anything as long as like there's a lighthouse, a dude, and a city. And this is why I'm kind of petty. Like, this isn't a gameplay thing or really a story thing. It's mostly that Ken Levine left 2K after Burial at Sea Part 2. And that basically killed the idea of ever having a Bioshock again. I thought the idea of Infinite was so cool. Like, there's an infinite number of possibilities as long as there's a lighthouse, a city, and a guy. But after Burial at Sea Part 1 and 2, it's just like, well, nope, not actually, though.
Yeah.
But that being said, it was very clever. I thought Burial at Sea... I didn't like Burial at Sea Part 2 as much as you did, probably, because I'm
really? I just thought it had
games.
Okay, well, I like the stealth game aspect.
Yeah,
and
I'm terrible at stealth games.
It also just had the most impactful cutscenes. Like,
yeah, Elizabeth is a very good character.
Apart from the big cutscene in the first game, like, I remember the cutscenes in Burial at Sea Part 2 way more than I do anything from the main game.
Really?
So,
okay.
Oh yeah, like I barely remember the main game, to be honest. Like I do remember that ghost section a little bit, but
yeah. See, I'm the opposite. I think mostly because I played that entire game in one day, so it probably just was it etched into my sleep deprived brain as I was playing it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, I didn't dislike Burial at Sea. I think it's just I'm bad at stealth games, so that kind of colored my experience a little bit.
Yeah,
I thought it was great.
An incredibly easy stealth game because they gave you abilities that were just super overpowered for a stealth game.
Well, Tyler, okay, maybe some of us are stealthily challenged, and maybe you should stop discriminating against me.
Look, Trey, we need to get you into Thief.
I've played Thief. I'm so bad. I can't do it, Tyler. I can't play
not
stealth
a sneaky
games.
boy.
I'm not a sneaky boy. I'm like the opposite of a sneaky boy. Like most situations in most games, I like to tackle this by like bum rushing thing. Like I'm just bad at it. I'm not good. I'm not patient. I think that's my main issue. I'm not a very patient guy, so I don't want to like wait and see guard rotations or any of that shit. I just want to go, and then I get caught, and then I end up having to kill every single person in the level because they can't see you if they're all dead. So
I guess so.
So yeah, maybe it is an easy stealth game for geniuses who are good at stealth games.
Y'all big brains.
Yeah, those you big brains are good at stealth games.
I don't know about that. I've seen speed runs of Dishonored, and man, the things they do in that and also like never get seen are insane.
I mean, that's speedruns of anything.
You're right.
Like I love Metroid Prime. I have no idea how they do almost anything they do in the speedruns of that game.
Yeah, I mean, speedruns is basically just break the game, y'all.
Yeah, just break the game, y'all. And I love how they'll categorize as like in and out of bounds, but you still go out of bounds even in the inbounds category. I don't know. That's a discussion for another time. This is my Steam bath, damn it.
All right.
But anyway, general consensus: very good games. If you've never played the BioShock franchise, I would definitely. You can get them for like stupid cheap most of the time on Steam. Like, just wait for any sale. They go on sale a lot. So next time there's a 2K sale, pick them up. I guarantee you'll have a good time, even if you don't like shooters. It's just very, very good. Very good stuff. But yeah, that's my Steam bath, y'all. You guys have a very good set. You guys feel all good. Your pores open up.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Great.
Something like that.
I don't know, I'm starting to prune a little. Let me out. All
right. We can leave my Steam bath. Dan.
That's it for the Steam. Oh, me? You're tagging me in?
Yeah, tagging you in. Steam bath's over.
All right, well, let's hop out of the Steam bath and let's hop into, I don't know, Dan's contentious corner or something, because Trey and Tyler, I think you're both going to be mad at me. I've been watching 2 shows. They're both older shows.
Right.
I'll start with real quick. I started watching on Netflix. I'm about halfway through it because I had some off time today, and I just kind of played it in the background. I started watching Anohana. I don't know if either of you guys have watched that one.
I have not.
I have not.
Oh, for the story, it's not spoilers to kind of talk about, but there's a girl who died.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys don't know the core concept, basically this girl died 5 years before the start of the show, and it's essentially this ghost of her, kind of. It's like, it's her. She's haunting. Haunting's not the right word. She's basically refuses to pass on and just follows around one of her old friends from when she was a kid. I think they were 6th graders, supposedly, and now they're all high schoolers, and there's a group of 5 of them. They all kind of drifted apart. And the show, it's kind of nice so far to watch. It's basically the show shows and kind of talks about how different people can kind of handle loss.
Yeah, I like the concept.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Apparently, the further you get in the show, it's a tearjerker. I got about halfway.
Any show where the main character, any show that deals with ghosts and it's not a horror show, it's gonna be a tearjerker 100% of the time.
Yeah, well, and it's basically like, from what I've gotten so far from it, it's basically all 5 of these people think they killed their friend, and it's like, oh man, that's a bummer, man.
Yeah, that ruined your childhood.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm about 6 episodes in, and it also, if you put on the lens of, you're looking at it through the eyes of how high schoolers would deal with something like it, it's good. It's very good. I'd say I can't really form too much an opinion. I'm about halfway through. But what I can form an opinion on, and I think has officially made its way to the drop list, and I tried, guys. I really tried. I can't like ReZero. I don't know why I don't like it.
Oh, yeah? How far are you?
About 15, 16 episodes. About halfway through the new Queen selection arc, and yeah, so it's just got to the part he just met Betelgeuse, I think, for the first time, or whoever is calling themselves. It's some weird, crazy cultist. He just met.
Yeah.
And I think I talked with Tyler a bit about this. One of my favorite things that show did, and like any show, was the scene where, without spoiling too much, where he jumps off the cliff. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Right.
But then it just kind of stopped doing anything like that for me. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, yeah, the part where you're at, like that, and a little bit beyond that is like my favorite part of the whole show. But
Really?
yeah, like the once you get into the cult stuff.
Yeah, it just kind of, it's spun its wheel, especially for a show that had 24 episodes. I feel like it just kind of didn't do much with a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean that is a valid complaint, especially with the beginning of the show is very, very slow.
Yeah.
I had to retry the show a few times actually. I couldn't get past right after the Queen's right after he gets chewed out by Amelia. That's when I quit it the first time because I was just like, Jesus Christ, Subaru, stop being a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
that scene
was kind of kind of hard, like not hard to watch. Like it was not. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's annoying. I don't know. Like it feels like right after that arc, I felt like it got really good. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's subjective, I guess. Like it's just
It's kind of just for me. It's also more so now. It's doing, because I kind of know some of the stuff that happens. I guess my biggest thing with it is like people always used to hail it as like, oh, it's doing so many things different than like every other isekai, and it doesn't really, in all honesty. Like, he still is getting a harem.
Sure, yeah, that's true. I think the main thing it does differently is that he never really gets overpowered. At least not in the first season. At least not in the at least not in this season. I don't know if the next season. I don't know if its powers have anything else going on. I just like the idea of the main characters of an isekai having a bad time, and I think that was done fairly well, because like...
Yeah, and that's the thing, if it did, like, more of that. I think it's also, like, the show was kind of always sold as, like, oh, you're gonna see him, like, dive, like, deeper and deeper into this, and it's like, right now, at least, it doesn't bug him that much that he's dying over and over.
Okay.
At least, I don't think... It doesn't seem like it's bugging him that much.
I wish you'd get a little further, but I can definitely... If you want to drop it, I definitely get it.
Yeah, it's just at this point it doesn't do enough for me. Like, I don't know. Like, it's falling into the show where it's like I feel like it's almost like I think anytime these shows get hyped up for me, I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be good, and then it just
and then like it's just not what you wanted.
It's not what it said on the tin, and it's just not. I don't think it's for me. Also, maybe it's now that I'm watching it. I mean, I don't watch a ton of isekai anyway, to be honest. I think the only real isekai I've watched is Konosuba and I guess a season of Overlord.
Yeah.
I've watched / read too many. That's why I hate. That's why I dislike the genre for the most part because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely get it though. I definitely think that season that show is very poorly paced. I think that's the problem. Like, I wish they would throw more of the good stuff in and not just save it till the very end, because that's what it seems like. It's what it seemed like it did in the
first season
in the show. Yeah, in the first season.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it does kind of a little bit. It's kind of, and it's more so. It's just like the show definitely had strengths that I think it could have played with, like getting to see Super interact with these different characters. Basically, the fact that at least where I'm at now, anybody who's not Rem has kind of been like blindsided. Besides meeting the new waifu bait characters, like all the other queen selections. Which I'm just like, why? I don't know why we need to meet 12 new characters, kind of.
You know what? I don't know either.
Yeah, and I still, like, we don't know anything about Roswell. We learned a little bit about Rem and Ram.
Besides, it's so funny. Those characters, I'm assuming that in the light novel they come back, but after that Small Queen's, like, you don't actually see those characters really at all for the rest of the show.
Yeah,
it's
even, like
why even have them?
Yeah.
My assumption is, it'll be something later, but...
It's again, maybe this season's just a little too... For me, it's like, it almost feels like the show knew it was going to be a longer running show, and I know it's going to get another season. But I feel like, again, it's kind of almost in the environment where it came out, even for being a 2-core, like, just every other show I can think of in 12 episodes, or even 24, can kind of just has done more lately, and it just felt very
Yeah, like you've been coming off of other shows that have just been handling their budget or like their time budget better.
Yeah, their time budget a little better, or even just like going into more of the characters. Like even Beatrice doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just existed. I still don't know what she was. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go back to it sometime. But for now, it's sitting on the back burner.
Fair
And
enough.
I
I honestly think that's valid. I know that show is fairly contentious. It's not like it's a universally loved show. I mean, I don't know.
Really?
The season it came out was pretty. People were pretty into it, but I think people have either come to really like it or like cooled on it.
Yeah, really. Because I thought, kind of from what I was seeing, it almost like the opposite. At least like people love Rem still. Like
people still like Rem, and
which
she is great. But.
Yeah, she's great, but I mean, I don't want to everybody likes to steer into the meme of like I love Amelia, but it's obvious. I don't know why everybody got so mad. Like from literally the first minute of the show.
Yeah, there's a moment that happens later that like kind of I think that's what kind of solidified Rem as being like the why the fuck does he like Amelia when Rem's doing all this shit? But
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never really cared about that, but it was funny. It was funny for me. Like going into it now, I was like, wait a second, it's a little obvious, isn't it, guys? Seems pretty obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though, and I said it before, I think Amelia is just kind of boring. Like
yes, I think she is definitely that.
She's kind of boring, and I don't get her. I could go on. It's basically like there's not any one thing I think I really don't like about the show. It's just like death by bug bites almost. Like yeah, I don't know. But that's what I've been doing.
All right.
Hating popular television.
Yeah, Dan, stop having contentious opinions. You fucking be a sheep. Jesus.
Yep. Just like what everybody likes.
Like what everybody else likes. That'll get you through the day.
It will. Well.
It gets me through the day. Anyway, where's my alcohol?
Yep.
On that note, what have you been up to, Tyler?
On that note, I have been up to trying out a new game. It's not a new game, but it's a new game for me. It's called Everspace.
I've heard of Everspace. I have
no idea what it is.
It is a game where it's basically a pretty polished space shooter. For the most part, it was trying to be roguelike in a lot of ways, where you just kind of keep playing over and over and over again into these randomized systems, trying to get as far as you can, and you're trying to make it like as many warp jumps as you can, and then I'm guessing eventually get to the end of a story.
It's pretty.
It is pretty. It's definitely a pretty game. However, I think you start kind of seeing the same things over and over and over again.
That's a problem that a lot of roguelikes have, where they just don't have. They have a really hard time like diversifying the gameplay.
Yeah,
and I think that I don't think that is the problem with random generation. Like good randomly generated games seem to be able to avoid that, but it seems to be a trapping of a lot of like roguelikes where they just can't seem to like. After a few hours, you've seen literally everything this game can throw at you. And no matter what pattern they do it in, you've still seen it all, right?
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen... Like, I'm sure there's still more stuff the game has to show me, but I feel like I've stopped caring because they don't seem to have enough diversity in the stuff that you can get. So it's just like, oh, do I want this weapon or do I want this other weapon that's just very like slightly different?
Very minor things that you can change play through.
Yeah. And maybe to people who are like into these space shooter games, maybe it's really cool for them. Like I said, the controls are pretty tight and a lot of stuff like that. But
I like the fact you can stop yourself. I'm watching some gameplay right now. I like the fact that a lot of space shooters, you're just kind of you have to move forward. And that like if you're there's no way to stop your ship and just like move and just like hover, which never made any sense to me. Like you're in space, what the fuck ain't you just why are you stuck on this trajectory? You're not like in a
That's
plane.
true, and you can go up and you can go like you can rotate in pretty much any direction. It feels like I said, the movement actually feels really good. And that's my favorite parts. And then also the exploration is pretty fun. and I thought it was going to be a little more of that. And then when you're just exploring the same piece of space junk over and over again, it's kind of like, all right, I've seen this before.
Yeah, I've had experiences with roguelikes that are like very similar. Like, I enjoy this game, but man, it's like I wish there was more. Like, I wish like this playthrough wasn't just going to be the same playthrough, but like a slightly different like coat of paint.
Yeah, and then it has the same issue that I have with a lot of kind of space fighter games, where it's like, okay, well, what can I do to defend myself? Like, I'm basically just a sitting duck, and anybody can shoot me, and if I don't take them down fast enough, I'm just dead. So it's basically all about aiming, because honestly, moving doesn't really seem to help you that much, because they just target ahead of you and shoot you anyway.
The AI is just very good at like just pinpointing you and shooting you down.
Yeah, or maybe there's just something I missed about the game, but I don't know. It seemed very difficult to actually, survive in that game. Where I was basically just
a barrel roll.
Right? Exactly.
Dodge, dip, duck, dive, dodge.
Deflecting their bullets with your wings, like in Snare Facts.
Yeah. Well, my other issue with the game is a lot of the things, like, it seemed like the shields were utterly necessary, but you kept finding items that it was like, do you want to replace your shield with this item? And I'm like, no. Why would I ever want to do that? Like,
no, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Like, how about instead of having a shield, how would you like to have this, like, thing that any enemy that gets close to you, you can just, like, activate it and zap them? No, I'd rather have a shield. Like,
no, I'd rather have a thing that makes it so I don't die.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. That'd be good.
I can dream.
Yeah.
Are there other ships? Like, can you unlock more ships? Or
there's, like, 4 that I saw total. Okay. I'm not sure if there's more that, get unlocked over time, but there's 4. 2 of them are you have to pay for, maybe 3 of them. I don't know. Like, one of the ships, I swear, like, had an unlock cost early on, and then later on it just didn't.
So when you say pay, you mean like pay with in-game currency?
In-game currency.
Okay, I was like, y'all making me want me to do microtransactions?
No. There's no microtransactions in this game. But it seemed, I don't know. And the other ships, they had such big trade-offs that it was like, I don't really know, like, I guess a different play style, but I could spend a lot of money on a ship that had basically no health, but was smaller and faster, I guess, or I could spend money on a bigger ship that had no shield, which meant all damage you took was just straight to your hull points, and that doesn't regenerate over time. And I was like, they both sound like bad trade-offs. Like, I don't know why I would want to take either one of those. They don't sound interesting
enough to make you want to play them.
Yeah. Certainly not to spend the kind of money, especially after I realized that, like, half of the upgrades on the upgrade panel, like, half of them are for you, half of them are for your current equipped ship. So I didn't realize that until a little ways in, and I'd already spent a decent amount of money on the ship, and I was like, well, I guess I'm definitely not changing, because why would I want to start over?
It would be starting from 0.
Essentially. Yeah, and the story didn't really interest me that much. It felt kind of like, I don't know, just thrown in to have it there.
Roguelike story?
Yeah. Well, like, each time you get to a new sector, it plays like a cinematic, basically.
Sure. Things have changed, yet they remain the same.
Yep, pretty much.
There is a story in this game. That's it. That's just... There you go. So basically, play Darkest Dungeon if you want roguelike. That's what I'm hearing.
I guess. No, there's so many better...
I'm kidding. There's a lot of good roguelikes out there.
Honestly, my favorite one has been Heroes of Hammerwatch recently.
I
put like over 100 hours into that game.
Jesus.
That's
granted,
like me and
I was playing with other people, so.
That's fair.
Because they have a co-op mode, and it's definitely a way easier game single player, as we were discovering going back. Because they just really boost the health and stuff of enemies, and it makes it way more challenging. And then you dive over to single player, and you just are just wrecking everything.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of when games do stuff like that. Like, I get it. It's just like I get you want to make it harder you want to make it because you have 2 people, so you want to make it like like
honestly, the game felt balanced
difficult.
for like 2 to 3 people.
Mhm.
It felt that way. It didn't really seem like it was intended as a single player game, even though you could. But yeah. Anyway, Everspace. I don't know. It's really well rated. Obviously, people like it. It's just, I guess it's not my cup of tea.
Sounds like an ever waste. Am I right?
Yeah.
Got
But I will
him.
talk briefly about another game that I played, if that's okay with you guys.
All right. Sure.
Yeah,
I
sure.
played an indie artsy game
Ooh, I
called
do like
East
indie
Shade.
God, where do you find these games, man?
You know, man.
I like to think I got my ear pretty close to the game ground, but when you just keep, oh, okay, I have heard of this game. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Never mind. I basically
I'm
saw it on
this.
Steam, and I thought it was looking interesting, so I like put it on my list, and then it was on sale, and I was like, you know what? I'll try it. I'll give it a shot. I'll see what this game is, and it definitely has its like parts where it shows its roughness as being like an indie game and a smaller.
It seemed
game.
very relaxing. I've watched some gameplay of it. It's just
A big
chill
thing
time.
of it. Yeah. It is.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks
Boring
explory.
to some.
Yeah, if you don't like
Boring
exploration,
to some people.
if you don't like exploration,
Are you telling me?
you guys probably
No,
will
I-
like
I-
this game, or maybe not.
That
Trey
wasn't a dig
probably
at you.
will.
That was mostly a dig at me.
Yeah.
I've watched enough of that game to know that I probably wouldn't like it. Which is
What-
funny. I like walking simulators, but this man, it's just too chill. It's just
A little bit. It gets better when you can buy the bicycle, and that
Okay.
really helps you move around. It really speeds things up. Not to mention, there's like an upgraded boat you can get in the game, which moves a lot faster, and that also really speeds the game up.
You're
So there's ways that the game does move a little more towards the end game, but it's honestly not that long of a game. I think I only put like maybe
sure.
8 to 10 hours or something into it, and I feel like I got just about everything out of it. There's a few things I didn't complete in the game, but they were mainly just annoying things. So,
Okay. Do you think it's worth the $25 asking price though?
I
Or would you
would
recommend
say
putting it on sale?
I would recommend getting it on sale. I think I picked
Okay.
it up for like 15 or something like that, somewhere
All
between
right.
10 and 15, and I thought it was worth it for that.
right.
At least I had a good time. If walking simulators and exploration games are not your thing, then I would stay away from it.
Yeah.
But it has some strong points to it for sure. The art, particularly at close distance, is pretty beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very pretty. It's a very pretty game. I mean, a lot of walking simulators have that
Yeah.
nature aesthetic down pat, like very well done.
Yeah, and there's particular like places that it's
Yeah.
really well done.
Is the story interesting at least? Like,
The story is mainly told through the environment. There's not a ton of story, but there's definitely some things to figure out about the world. And that's where it gets interesting, is actually reading things and discovering things and then being able to do things in the world with that information.
okay, that's interesting. That's more interesting because that was my main thing. Having watched some of it, is just like the reason I like these walking simulator type games is because they usually have very interesting narratives.
Yeah.
This one didn't really catch me. I don't know what it was about it. It's like it just seemed very passive, and it just kind of
It is. It's not
slipped past
as
me.
story driven as some of the others are. So if that's really what you're looking for as well, it's not entirely that.
Yeah, it seems like this game would be a good pickup for like $10-15 is what it sounds like. $10-15
I would
seems to
agree.
be like
Yeah.
the price that you'd want to pay for a game like this. I think 25 is a bit much, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I would
and,
say
and maybe
expect to
it's fair
put.
for some people, but I don't know. Like, it just seems like a lot.
Yeah, I'd say expect to put like 1 to 2 days into it too, if that's if you like that kind of game. But yeah, otherwise there's some interesting things. My biggest complaints were just, again, a lot of issues with indie games, and it trying to be a little more ambitious too. Is the audio was kind of, especially the voice recording quality was not great. It really was hit or miss. Some of it was pretty decent, and other of it was just utterly terrible.
Yeah.
Like, where you can hear it
Yeah.
like clicking and popping and stuff as they're talking, and you're like, oh god, please stop, just don't talk to me anymore, just go
Not
away.
Not like this.
Yeah, there were certain characters that are like, I'm kind of interested in your story, but I don't want to hear you talk anymore. So
Yeah,
that
I can
part
kind of
wasn't
forgive that a lot in
great.
indie games, just because I know that they don't always have the budget
Yeah,
for like good audio.
there were certain cutscenes that just seemed like I'd later figured out some of them you can skip, but I'm not sure if you can only skip it the second time around, where you're just kind of waiting, and it was pretty cool the first time, but definitely like it gets a little old pretty quick.
Right.
And you're like, I just wish this was going about twice as fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like you take this nice, gentle, slow hot air balloon ride, which goes about the speed of a hot air balloon, so not that fast.
Man, art game's something.
Actually, that was the fun thing when I discovered the skip button on that thing. I was like, oh sure, this will just probably pop me to the end. I press the skip button, and all it does is like increase the speed of it by like 3 times.
Oh my god. What was that one?
So you talk a little faster than that.
There was a game, a puzzle game that did that I played recently. That was the same fucking thing. Shit, I can't remember the name. It's by the guy who made Braid, I think.
Oh really? Huh.
Yeah. But there's a boat on the island you're on, and you can like go to other points in the island, and I'm like, oh sweet, I unlocked fast travel. Get in the boat starts up, and you're just sitting in the boat, and you're like, okay, well at least it has 3 speeds. You put it to the 3rd speed, it goes like maybe half again as fast, and you're like, well, alright.
This is where I am now.
I guess I'm just here now, I suppose.
Yeah, this
Dude.
This
The
game,
Witness,
I will say...
The Witness, by the way, is what the game's called.
Oh, The Witness, okay.
Okay.
But this game definitely takes its time. It
Yeah.
really does. I will say it had a fun little glitch when I did the speed up too, where I landed and then suddenly it teleported me like to an out of bounds area. Luckily there was still collision, so I could just like jump back in bounds. But yeah, that was a little fun. And then the other thing is, I just wish I could turn up the draw distance a little bit. Although I guess
bad.
Yeah, poppin' was a little bad, particularly like the final cutscene where it's playing this emotional music and you're like sailing away, and then you just like see things popping out in the distance, and you're like, all right, goodbye island.
Yeah,
And instant gone.
Yeah, Pop-It is something that I really wish that we could tackle. Like, I know it'll always be a thing, but man, some games that really suffer from.
There
from
are
Pop-It.
games that do it pretty well. I think actually the other big game I played recently that I talked about a lot was the Dragon Quest Builders game.
Yeah,
where it does like a little bit of a fade out.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the best way to do it, because like there's other games where you see like it's like a lot, especially a lot of modern open world games where like you just see the like massive pieces of scenery just like pop in, where like you, like they're low res models that you can see from the distance, and then you get closer and like all of their assets start like popping into existence, and you're like, is there really not a better way we could have done this? Like,
yeah. I will say though, this game, apparently the eShade on highest graphics settings was taxing on my computer, even though it ran smooth, because it just sounded like my computer was going to take off the entire time I was playing that game. It was just on full rev. It was crazy. But yeah, no, again, decent game. So I don't.
Excellent. Give it your Tyler seal of approval.
Yeah, I mean I had fun with it. So.
Cool. All right. Well.
Not for everybody, not for Trey.
Yeah, I have a question for y'all, because it's a game that I've been experiencing a lot of recently, but I don't own it.
Yeah.
And I've never played it. And I just want to know, is it okay to talk about a game you've never played?
What
Depends.
game?
RimWorld.
RimWorld.
It's a game that I don't currently own. I'm not sure if I ever will own it, because that game is so fucking complicated. But man, I have been enjoying the hell out of watching it recently. I just had to soapbox this for a minute. But I just want to know, is it okay to talk about a game that I've never played?
You know what? There's nothing in the rule books against it.
All right,
I guess.
well, as long as the umpire says it's okay. All right, so it's basically I don't. Do you guys know? You guys have ever heard of RimWorld at all?
I've been seeing a lot. It keeps on getting ads for it. It
Yeah,
looks spacey.
it's a little like Dwarf Fortress but space.
Okay.
It's like a management game where you have these little people who crash land crash land on this planet in the rim, and you basically have to like manage their lives. Like you set up like schedules for them, and you set up like living areas and like storage areas, and you set up jobs. You can build management tables, and there's like a tech tree, and like there's a lot of systems, like tons and tons of systems in play. I think the most enjoyable thing about it, because it's not a visually intensive game, there's not a whole lot on screen at any one time. Mm-hmm. It's better than Dwarf Fortress, because like I don't know if anyone's ever seen that game. That game is incredibly simplistic.
Yep.
But it's it's definitely not like a crazy looker either. It looks alright for what it is.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I think the coolest thing about it is there's just so many systems, man. Like, it's just system after system of this, like, crazy depth, like, and not to mention there's like a ton of mods for it. Like, you can get, like, nuclear power, like, kids and teaching and stuff like that. Like, expansions worth of content is just free with mods, basically. And no two playthroughs are anywhere near the same. Like, there's just stuff, this random stuff will happen because you have like this like narrators who will curate your experience a little bit. Like they'll throw like differing challenges at you. Like one of the ones I watched, like one of the characters got taken away and they found him later as a slave. Which I thought was super interesting. Or like so a pod will crash land down and the father of one of your characters will be in there, and you can rescue him, and now all of a sudden you have like in your crew is like the father of one of your characters, and then like that'll actually matter, especially like if whatever pirate shot them down comes down demanding they get him back. It's just like crazy how in depth this is for like a simplistic looking game, and so I usually wouldn't talk about a game I hadn't played, but man, like if that sounds like your cup of tea, I think this game might be the perfect game for you if you think that kind of gameplay sounds fun.
Yeah. It seems way too complex for me. Like way too many systems.
That's been the main like thing that held me back. I may still buy it like just to see, but like man, it's very complex. It's not. It is very like it looks very good, and apparently the tutorial is very good. Like it's fairly streamlined. It doesn't like. You're not like gonna be buried in menus very easily. Like it's not gonna your whole screen's not gonna be full of menus or something. But there's still a lot. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
I would suggest looking up play like a let's play or something first before you consider buying it. Just to see if it's something you would enjoy. But I think it's a very cool experience. So like that's all I'll say about it. I'm not gonna like stick on it too much because again I haven't played it, but I don't know. Yeah. Like
I really like the idea of like it seems to be taking the idea of emergent storytelling.
Yeah.
And actually
exactly
like focusing on it and like drawing attention to it, not just being like, oh, it's something you can pay attention to if you want, but the game will comment on it and will like
That's exactly it, because like none of it's scripted. It's just like all emergent gameplay that kind of forms a story of these characters that you kind of are getting into. And I've been like getting very like one of the characters in one of the things I was watching died recently, and I was like getting like, oh man, I was like, damn, that sucks, man. I like that character. Because like the characters will interact and they'll like drink, and eat and stuff. They'll eat around tables. They'll hold funerals. They'll hold elections without you asking for them. Like they'll get up to make mayors. Like to have a mayor of your... it's like cool. Yeah. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And like the mayors will like have their own offices and like they'll see people with their problems. They can develop anxiety and like anxiety problems and things. Like it's really cool. I'm just like, wow, that's awesome.
Like you telling me about the whole like planning people's schedules and stuff, that sounded like way too much for me. But like, if it was just seeing that stuff happen and they were mainly managing themselves and having their own like simulated society, and I was just maybe like directing building.
Yeah, I think that, and you can kind of
And
do
resources,
that.
like-
One of the people I watch kind of does that, because like when I say develop, like do their schedules, I mean like you can set priorities for what the character will think is important. Like you can give a number value to like say their mining or their doctoring or their socializing.
Okay.
And like you can set what times are like mandatory sleep times if you want. If you like want them all to be awake or asleep at the same time. Like, but you don't have to do most of that. Like, you could. I think it's just like when I say manage their schedule, I just mean like manage like what their priorities are.
Yeah.
But like after you do that, the game can basically run itself. Like, it can basically do most of the things itself. You can also like if they're doing something you don't want, you can also reset them and they'll go back to they'll probably do what you want instead, or you can like directly tell them, but. You can be more hands-off if you want, just because, like, again, they have their own AI. It's not, like, super complex, but, like, with all the rest of the systems, the fact that they have a sort of AI to, like, interact with the world around them means that, like, you got these really cool moments between these characters where, like, one of the characters will get into a fight because they commented on some other character. And one of the characters will like accidentally chop a finger off that other character, and now that one character who got into a fight now just can't craft as well because he's missing a finger.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Yeah, like it's like wow, that's what.
Yeah. No, it seems like this really has just taken Dwarf Fortress to like a whole new level.
Yeah, that's sort of like the whole idea behind it. Is it's like be like Dwarf Fortress, but like way more in depth.
Yeah.
So. Again, I feel like it's my duty as your game recommendor, my beautiful audience, to recommend you the good shit, that good stuff. And this seems like some good stuff to me if you like that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean maybe we got oh geez, one thing we got recommendations here.
Yeah.
We can recommend people play it.
Yeah, let us know.
Or Trey play it.
Mm-hmm.
I very well might buy it. I'm definitely considering it. It's on my wish list. I was gonna see if it ever went on sale, but if it doesn't, I might just pick it up anyway just to play it. Besides that, though, the only thing I've really else have done this week is I finished The Boys.
Oh really? Does it
yeah,
continue to be
very
good? Okay.
It continued to be good. The ending was definitely not something I expected. I cannot wait for season 2. Very good. If you own Amazon Prime, you should definitely watch it.
All right.
I don't really have anything else to say. It continues to be what it was prior. It doesn't really turn into a new genre halfway through or anything, but very good start to finish. I really enjoyed it. Probably my show of the summer.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
nice.
but,
I didn't think it looked that good.
yeah, right. Like it doesn't. They didn't really. Besides the budget,
Yeah.
they didn't really like wow me with the trailers. But like after watching
all the
it,
trailers were like, "What if superheroes were dark and grim?"
Yeah, what
and
if
I was
superheroes but bad?
yeah, and I was like, "That's okay. That's been done, and it
Yeah.
hasn't been done interestingly yet." So
Yeah, and I think that's.
Yeah, I was gonna say I got a lot of fuck.
Yeah,
Batman
and I think
vibes from that.
that's sort of like the thing that might not draw people into it, is that it kind of has that aesthetic, and like Tyler said, it's been done. That's been done, and to be fair, it's not like reinventing the genre. I don't think like besides the fact that the superheroes aren't really 100% bad, minus a few of them. Like there's definitely like nuances to all of them. Towards the end, even characters who I hated, I was like, man, I can definitely see why they're the way they are.
yeah. Huh.
It's just it's just very well done. It doesn't try and like be anything it's not, and it's not nearly as edgy as it looks. It's not, especially considering the wall of warnings when you first start it. It's like rape, nudity, sexual violence, regular violence. It's like, oh man, this is gonna be one of those shows. But no, like you get into it, and it's like this is actually not nearly as edgy as it was like the trailers were making it seem like it was. It's like it's not trying to be like subversive like that. It's more just like what would superheroes be like if they were also like run by a company sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like what if Hollywood had superheroes? Essentially, is what it kind of feels like. It's just very interesting. Like they hit in a lot of poignant like issues with like how he monetized things and things like that. It's just very well done. Very very good show.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. Yeah, definitely don't let the edginess try and like put you off of it. It definitely isn't that. That's not. It's not. That's not even what it's trying to be. I don't know what Amazon was thinking when they marketed it like that.
Yeah, I don't know, because that definitely like pushed me away at least. So.
Yeah, and like there are some times and there's like the edgy like, oh well, they can have nudity, so they're gonna have nudity like sort of HBO effect. That definitely does happen sometimes, but like for the most part, it's not. It doesn't even try and be that. Like it's just not what the show is.
Yeah. By the way, Trey, I don't know. Sorry to interrupt you for a bit, but you mentioned nudity because you could have nudity, and that brings me to Netflix, and you and I have a vendetta against Netflix now.
Oh, they finally turned you.
I mean, yeah, they hadn't been doing great, but they canceled it, Trey. They canceled it.
Yep, they canceled it. They canceled. Oh, the OA has been canceled. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, right. Oh my god. It was such a good
show, and it's such a bad thing because they like ended the first season being like, this is the end.
This could be that's the worst part, is that you could have stopped after the first season. They could have just ended it.
They could have just ended it.
Nobody would have cared. Like,
and then they teased us with the second season. And the second season was very much a cliffhanger for the next season.
Yeah, like huge cliffhanger, like massive.
Oh.
Like,
and then they canceled it.
They cancel it, but like hot, steamy dumpster garbage like Another Life is allowed to be on Netflix. Like, okay, sure, whatever.
Sorry to interrupt you, Trey.
Oh yeah, no, that was a good interruption. Now we can end the podcast with me venting and screaming into the void. I think that's a pretty good place to stop.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good place to stop the podcast.
No other way to end one of our podcasts.
That's just me like, why? Why am I not allowed to have nice things, audience? Why has Netflix got to keep killing the things I like?
Yeah.
But hey, at least we got Another Life, huh?
Yeah.
At least we get blown away. It's about people who make glass crafts. That's good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was seeing like so many others. Like I just opened up Netflix earlier today and was like, I have not seen stuff on here for a while. I guess looks like they're doing more of the like targeting like teenagers with like somewhat like sex-oriented shows. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. A lot of reality TV style shows have been popping up too. I don't know, man. We've had the Netflix combo, but
yeah,
that's all I'll say. But we're hitting that time again, everybody. Thanks for joining us in the lovely steam baths and the horrible dumpster mines. Anyway, get out of my house.